He just has a very unique style. Obviously, his director's cut versions of Batman versus Superman and the Snyder cut of Justice League are far superior to what Warner Brothers put out theatrically, right? We can agree on that. I think anybody who is a fan of comic book movies can probably agree on that if they've seen, both versions, right?
Yeah. If they did. Unless you're a casual person, which a lot of people are, that are like, I saw it in theater. I'm not going to put any more effort into seeing any more of that.
So. That's fair. If that's the way you are, then whatever. That's fine. So this movie very much is a reflection of his style. Welcome back to the Movie Dads Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Howie.
I'm Kyle.
That is Kyle. We're back. Episode number 32. Big premiere, movie of the week.
Crazy.
The end of the year sci-fi extravaganza. Zack Snyder, Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire.
It's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words. Just Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon numero uno.
Yeah, why did they have to do
Part 1?
Maybe because they're really sticking with the Star Wars vibe.
Yes.
Of like Star Wars, A New Hope.
It's pretty much what it is. But episode 32, we're back from a holiday hiatus, if you will. Christmas is over. We went through New Year's, and we're into lame old January.
Yeah, the post-holiday clarity.
Wah, wah, wah.
Just, like, all right, what do we look forward to now? My in-laws surprised us with a all-expenses-paid trip to Orange Beach, Alabama. Like, obviously, as a family. They basically want to take the kids there, and they knew that we would bitch if we didn't get to go.
Right.
All right, we threw it in for you too. So, like, I immediately was like, okay, cool. Now I have something to look forward to. Now that Michael Bublé and Mariah Carey are no longer playing, I don't have anything to look forward to, but now I do.
They're back in the vault.
That's right. They're on ice.
When's this trip?
That April, I think, was what they had said.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
So it's not right around the corner, but not too far away.
Right.
But we have a trip that we're planning to go to Comic-Con. We're going. Yeah.
Kansas City's Planet Con.
Let's go.
I think it's the second weekend of March. We're going to do that. I'm pretty jazzed.
We're there.
We're going. It's happening. We're getting t-shirts made.
We're going to rent the freaking furry dog van. We're going to take that thing across country where the wine flows like the salmon of Capistrano. Yeah, swallowed a big June bug on the way
in. Stuck in my teeth. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe. Make sure you click that bell. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you can find us on any podcast network, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Podcast Index. You can also find us on social media to see some of our short videos and clips at Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
It's the little things.
Kyle, I'm in my new office / podcast room. Studio.
I didn't know when you first jumped on. I'm like, where the fuck are you? Are you traveling for work?
Yeah,
where are you?
I'm on location.
Different room.
I take the Movie Dads poster with me wherever I go so I can hang it up behind me just in case.
Yeah, just every trip, like work trip, it's just part of your luggage. Smart.
Yeah, exactly.
That's smart.
Just carry it on my back with some straps. But
you know what? My old life of higher ed work, where I worked a lot of conferences and exhibits, we had pop-ups, like little multiple different kinds of basically little mini posters you could roll out and stick in a little pop-up. We should do that get some movie dads pop-ups. So like anywhere we go, we could just stick a little pop-up
We'll
up.
just roll it out and pop it up.
Yeah. We should do that
sign.
since we're going to be raising brand awareness at
I'm all
Planet
for
Con.
I like brand awareness, but yeah, so the walls will be done hopefully by the next episode. That ping pong table will hopefully be sold by then.
That ping pong table, that beer pong table.
No, I don't think beer pong's ever been played on it. It is for table tennis and table tennis only.
That's wild.
I know. I'm an old soul. I'm a traditionalist, but we're movie dads. We've got movie kids. Boy, Christmas break has been, pretty fun. I actually took vacation time off. We traveled out of town, and Des got a whole bunch of Legos for Christmas. So over the last few days, we've literally been parked at the kitchen table, putting together Super Mario Legos. And the kitchen table, you can't really eat on it right now because it's like the Mushroom Kingdom in the kitchen.
I love that you stuck with a theme. We also went with a Lego vibe for both of the older boys. And that is what I have been doing for the last couple of nights. Not like all night, but I got Grayson like a huge TIE fighter. And then I wanted the Batman 89 Batmobile Lego set. So Steph, she knew I wanted it, so she got it for Parker, for me to build, knowing that Parker was never going to play with it. Turns out he's been playing the shit out of it.
Oh, good.
But man, these Lego sets are like, that fucking Batmobile is intricate. Like the innards of that mobile is like directly ripped from the movie. It's like there's an engine in that thing. It's wild.
So Des has got Peach's Castle, like Princess Peach's Castle, and it was 1,200 and some pieces.
Dude, there's so many pieces.
I
don't understand how they do it.
Yeah, so when we were in Minnesota over the holiday, my brother-in-law, they're not married, but close enough. He got the Avengers Tower, which is a new set. It's like it's like $300 or $400. Like it's massive, and he hasn't put it together yet, but he got it for Christmas. Like that's wild.
Someone, I don't know if I sent that a picture video, but someone had that at the Denver Comic Con. They had like a huge Lego setup, and someone had the tower set.
Oh, but shit! They had that was like, before it came out.
They had like, maybe that was why they had the big displays on, because there was that one. There was the Spider-Man like Daily Bugle one that I think came out, but like it was all like lit up. So like they had like everything was like built in lights and stuff. So it was like fucking cool. It was massive. So I'm jealous of awesome. Your brother-in-law.
I do like it. Like him and I were doing it together. Where like it was kind of where we each bag you open a bag and like. And it's got the app on the phone, so your instructions are on the phone. Which you're like zooming in. It didn't come with the booklet. The Mario ones all come with like it's all digital.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, so it's like he's like looking at the pieces, and I'm like pulling the pieces out of the pile and passing them to him, and then he's building it. So, and then he'd get like 7-year-old distracted. And then I would like quick build something fast because otherwise we'd be there forever.
We'd be there all fucking day.
It was. Yeah, it took all day to build Peach's Castle. We did that on like Sunday. Blast.
That's fucking
I had an absolute blast. And then of course tonight, like so we do Peach's Castle on Sunday, and then Monday we built some other stuff, and then like I went back to work today. And I work from home sometimes. And so today I was working from home. Just a little bit ago, he's like, can you get off electronics and play with me? And I'm like, I've spent more time with you in the last 2 or 3 days than like we have in forever, doing that one-on-one stuff. Don't you give me that guilt bullshit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's Parker and Cal have been going to daycare. They so today they went to daycare, and like days that Grayson was on Christmas break, we still were taking the younger two to daycare.
Sure.
So it's just been Grayson home for most of them, like today. And it's exactly that. Like I'm working and like the kids are gone and Grayson comes down like 8:30 in the morning. It's like, can you stop working and play some video games? Can we play Halo? Like you can go play Halo, but I have to do a job. Like I have a job to do.
I would absolutely love to do that.
Yes.
I don't have the choice.
So I'm like, I will come and play a couple levels with you at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I mean it's been nice, as horrible as I guess that sounds. It's been nice with the younger boys being at daycare and just Grayson being home for the day with me and Steph, because he's like a self-sufficient, for the most part, human being.
Yep.
So it's like I'm not like, I gotta keep an eye on you, you're gonna burn the house down. It's like I gotta fucking check on you to make sure you're still alive, because you're gonna disappear for the whole day in the house.
Right.
Playing video games. So but yeah, I mean that's it. Christmas break. Sounds like everybody had a great Christmas. We got. Have we had an episode since Christmas? I can't remember.
No.
This is dude. So Christmas Day. I talked on the last episode about how much I love fucking snow.
Yeah.
And how much I would fucking lose my mind for a Christmas snow, but that would never happen. And a Christmas miracle happened. Christmas Eve, I lay my pretty head down and wake up, and there was a white blanket of snow covered everywhere.
And it was like the perfect amount.
Yes. It was magical. It had stopped snowing at that point. So I was like, oh, like this is so cool. We got snow overnight for Christmas. I'm so happy. This is going to be the most memorable Christmas ever. And then boom, it fucking snowed like in the evening, all fucking day the next day. So it was like, it was great.
It was great.
I will remember that Christmas forever, because I feel like and we've talked about this, there's times where I look and I'm like, okay, it says it's going to snow in 5 days.
Yeah.
They're telling us the world's going to shut down. It's going to snow so much. And then it doesn't snow at all.
Doesn't snow.
And then there's times like this. Yeah. And there's times like this where nobody is like, oh my God, it's going to snow on Christmas. Like snow is coming. It just like Christmas, fucking showed up.
I got to share this. Like you've seen this because I sent you a picture. I'm dropping
you just shit. Break it?
No, it's
you break something?
I didn't break it.
That's what she said.
I got this giggity. I got this headphone stand for Christmas.
Oh yeah, fucking dope.
Isn't that cool?
Did Abby have that made? That's
no, my mom did. That's from my mom's.
Movie Dad's headset holder.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Mom. Good job.
I like it.
She cares about you.
She does.
I love that these people keep making us like Movie Dads branded things. It makes me feel like we're actually a thing. And at this point now, we have been rambling like nobody's business. Why don't we jump into my most excited segment of the episode? Our 6 to midnight. These are the things that get us up in the morning, gets us excited. This is what gets the blood flowing. New movies, geeky video games, some random nerd nostalgia we've dove into for the week. I usually go first. I'm going to let you go first this week.
Okay.
What's your 6 to midnight? What's got you juiced?
So there wasn't a ton over like the last 2 weeks. There wasn't a ton of like big news or anything. We really didn't have any new trailers drop. I mean, we are kind of getting into like the studios save their January movies. That's where their bad movies all come out. Like anytime a movie comes out in January, it usually means it's not good. because that's nobody goes to the movies in January. Well, not a lot of people went to the movies in December either, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But so there wasn't
Probably
a ton
why we
of
didn't
news.
get a lot of news, because like the whole world is kind of like me, and they're like, all right, these fucking 2 weeks, fuck off.
I mean,
I don't want to do anything.
You get a bunch of movies come out at the holidays. Like you get a bunch of movies come out the week of Christmas, which we did. We had a lot of movies come out, and a lot of them have done okay at the box office, and a lot of them had really good reviews and stuff. And then some others didn't. But anyway, there wasn't a ton of news. But a couple things that broke within like the last day or so that I thought were kind of interesting is one, this is always interesting. Do you remember like last year there was a Winnie the Pooh horror movie came out? Did you see that? Did you watch the movie?
I did not watch the movie. I didn't either, but I know where you're going with this.
It was like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, but that was all because Winnie the Pooh, the character, became public domain because after a certain amount of time, it's like 90 years or something, like a company can't own the rights to a character any longer for whatever reason, unless they like revamp them or something. Like, so there are versions of a character that become public domain, and that's what happened with Winnie the Pooh. Anyway, as of January 1st, because it's 2024, the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse, the original black and white shark eyes version of Mickey Mouse with the black circles, became public domain, right? And this is kind of a big deal because, he's probably the most iconic character ever, right?
I didn't realize it was just the black and white, it's just the black and white version. I thought it was just Mickey
can't touch
is now
red
public
pants.
domain.
Can't touch red pants, Mickey. Can't touch him. Anyway, so like it's instantaneous. That comes out that there's news of a horror movie called Mickey's Mousetrap is coming out.
Yes,
a Mickey slasher movie. Then this morning, there's already a poster for this movie with this creepy ass rubber Mickey Mouse head that looks
terrifying
with the shark eyes, right?
Yeah.
And then the trailer dropped this afternoon. They already made the damn movie. And it looks terrible, but it's fascinating because anybody can do what they want now with Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse, which I always think is funny when stuff like that hits the public domain. Anyway,
you say that, and I didn't watch the trailer and I didn't really like read into it, but like I saw it while scrolling that there was very much like that horror movie Winnie the Pooh one of a Mickey that was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. It's out there now, so they can.
Yep.
They move quick.
They sure do, man. They move quick, especially with those Disney properties. But anyway, that news came out. And then there was Blumhouse, horror, Jason Blum's horror production company, which has made some of the best horror movies of the last like 10, 15 years. They've done a really good job. Merged today with James Wan's Atomic Monster Studio. So like these two big horror movie studios merged into one big studio, and so they're going to release their stuff together.
Super horror movies.
Yeah, super horror movies. So I thought that was kind of neat. That's kind of big news. And then they, it's already been common knowledge that they're making a Minecraft movie, but they did announce today that Jack Black has signed on to be Minecraft Steve. To voice the main character.
Nice. Dude, my kids are going to love that.
I know, that's great. Kids. So it's, because like my 7-year-old knows Jack Black as Bowser, right?
Peaches,
yeah, exactly,
yep,
right?
Yep.
But that's, so he knows Jack Black from that, among other things, but that's the most common. But so some news there. What do you got?
Nice. Love that. Well, my kids are Minecraft nerds, so they fucking love that game. We've got a bunch of like Minecraft weapons all over the house. So, and it's all, I've only played enough to like get them like started and going, and then like, all right, here's the controller. But like, since they've been playing Minecraft for the last couple of years now with Grayson, it's just, it always fucking cracks me up when like they'll point out the name of a character and it's like fucking Steve.
Yes.
Like, oh, that's Steve. I'm like, who the fuck is Steve? Like, that's Minecraft. He's the main guy. His name is Steve.
Not my shirt. It's Frank's.
Yeah, like it's
Sorry,
just
go ahead.
it's so fucking great. You had said it. There wasn't really a lot of nerd news that came out in terms of like
Mm-mm.
trailers or new movies, and there was a new movie that just dropped, which we're going to talk about here on the pod today.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a couple of movies that I haven't seen yet for this year, which I'm like bummed
It's because
because
there's so
it
much
would.
so much good stuff comes out right at the end of the year, right? Like right at Christmas. Like 4 or 5 good
Yeah.
movies you want to see, and it's like, oh, I don't have time to see them all at once. It's Christmas.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll talk later about kind of our only can be five, but I think there might be some movies on there that I wish I would have seen before we did this. But I didn't realize that until before. Um, you had kind of mentioned like, well, I mean, you did send me some nerd stuff via text. Anytime I see like a new thing that we've talked about or that
Mm-hmm.
I nerd about, I send it to you, even though I know you don't care at all. But I'm like, fucking bro,
I
check the
reply
fucking
most of
shit
the
out.
time. Whatever.
I'm a figure guy. Action figures are a thing. I just got these new foot soldiers up. You can't really see them, but so like 2 or 3 years ago, Todd McFarlane took over for DC's like character products for figures. So like basically we've been finally getting generally like movie accurate badass action figures that I wish we had when I was a kid. And they finally started dropping like the real live action movies. So like we got the Christian Bale one, which I've talked about, which is great. Fucking got my badass fucking Pattinson just straight out of the movie. And then finally, I told you the big one that I needed was the fucking Michael Keaton 1989. I still need my my bat or
92 Batman Returns.
Yeah, I need my 92 Returns. I need the return suit. But we've talked about the best fucking on-screen like comic accurate Batman suit, or my favorite suit that I think should be the best, and there should be a million figures of it, is the Batman vs Superman Batman costume. Batfleck's fucking, he is the coolest looking Batman. And they have come out with Batfleck Batmans, but it's the fucking like Justice League,
Right.
like tech built, like he's got all this armor and shit. And the thing that's cool about the Batman vs Superman one is it's like it's supposed to look like it's just like a fucking suit over a muscle bound Batman. And it looks like it's from Dark Knight Returns, the comic. It's fucking so badass. The cowl is just gangster. And they, for whatever reason, have just not made a figure of that. They've done the stupid ass Justice League movie one. And now they're dropping like Batman Returns or Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Like they got like Keaton and Kilmer got their Batman.
Clooney
And so basically
got his Batman.
Yeah, fucking Clooney. Who did I say? Kilmer and who? Did I not say Kilmer and Clooney?
Keaton.
Oh,
Keaton.
yeah, Keaton, Clooney, Kilmer. But like, I want this fucking Batfleck from BBS, and I'm a fucking nerd, so like I'm in like fucking McFarlane like customs groups on Facebook, just because there's people out there. I don't have the time and I'm not skilled enough to do it, but there are people out there that like it's very easy to buy materials to be able to customize these figures or repaint them or make them however you want. And so people will make like these movie quality figures. They'll take the stuff that's come out and have done customs of the Batman versus Superman suit, and they're selling them for like $300, and people are buying them. And I'm not going to lie, I've looked at it a couple of times where I'm like, God, that will go perfect right there, and I will probably never move it if I get one. And then they teased it. McFarlane finally, he posted it. It was funny. He did it exactly how Snyder teased originally when they were teasing Ben Affleck's Batsuit, and it was like just a picture of him kind of standing and looking down. But it was super dark. You could barely really see
like a
the
silhouette.
suit. Yeah. So they basically released like that same picture of just a silhouette of clearly that's what it is, and it said like soon or like coming around the corner. And then there was a Batman versus Superman logo in it to be like, this is from the movie. So anyways, we're finally getting that fucking figure. And I'm fucking juiced for it. I just spent 5 minutes talking about an action figure. The other thing that I sent to you that for whatever reason I think is cool, and I will probably buy a lot of them, as we're talking about Legos, they just announced that they're doing Batman the Animated Series Legos. So
Right.
they didn't say or post anything of what is actually going to be released, but they did post that they are now going to be pumping out sets and things like that. So I'm fucking going to buy all of those, especially since we're getting the return of that series here soon.
That Lego Batmobile would be freaking amazing.
Dude, yes. Which they are. Speaking of Batmobiles, I mean, we've talked about it multiple times. So I chased this fucking bad boy down. This 89 fucking badass. It's like my fucking centerpiece on my desk. I'm going to do this fucking sweet ass setup on the wall here eventually. I just haven't had time to, but that's going to be my centerpiece. McFarlane let it slip in a little Twitter video the other day that because they have the rights and so many people fucking bought these, which by the way, dude, that double pack with Keaton and that is finally put it on Amazon with unlimited supply. It's $65. So I paid fucking $140 on that. If you want to pick it up on Amazon, I would do it. But they said they're gonna. He didn't say specifically what they're gonna release in what order, but he did say we're gonna start. We're gonna do. He's like, I imagine we're gonna be, we'll do one at a time of the movie Batmobiles. So I think we'll probably get them. Can you imagine fucking the Batman Forever Batmobile, the big fucking shark fin? That's gonna be dope.
That is cool.
Great. The tumbler, come on now. I'll buy it. Anyways, I like stupid shit like that.
2-pack. That's pretty cool with the Keaton figure.
I told you it's very inexpensive now. So, but yeah. So I mean, that's the nerdy shit that I've been looking at this week. I mean, obviously it's Christmas, so I've been buying a lot of toys for the kids. So that's where my head's at.
I hear that. Yeah, that's good.
The other thing that I was excited about was the movie that we are doing for this episode.
Well, that takes us into our big premiere movie of the week, the 2023 Zack Snyder sci-fi epic Netflix exclusive Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. So Rebel Moon Part 1 came out. It's a Netflix exclusive. Rebel Moon Part 2 comes out in April, which I'm pretty sure we'll probably talk about Part 2 after we've done Part 1. Just as we do with any other new movie, we will do spoiler-free. So then that way, if you don't want to hear any of the details of the movie, we'll talk about some of the stuff that doesn't tell what's happening or what the story is, and then we'll give a spoiler warning, and then we'll get into that stuff for anybody who wants to hear it who's already seen the movie. So boy, when this came out, the initial reviews, there were reviews pretty early before this movie came out. I think we had reviews 2 weeks early on Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot. So man, critics did not care for Rebel Moon whatsoever. It started off really low, single digits on Rotten Tomatoes. It built up a little bit eventually after some of the less mainstream reviewers got in there, but it started off, it sounded like it was going to have a lot of problems. Zack Snyder is one of those directors too that there's a lot of people that don't like his style, and then there's a lot of people that like the stories he tries to tell. I think you and I are very much in the Watchmen fan category. We like what he did with Watchmen. We thought it was really good. He did a great job with it. Boy, we could have done a top 5 Zack Snyder movies, honestly, and talked about which ones we like. We are both fans of 300. I'm a big fan of Dawn of the Dead, his remake. I think it was one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. He just has a very unique style. Obviously, his his director's cut versions of Batman versus Superman and the Snyder cut of Justice League are far superior to what Warner Brothers put out theatrically, right? We can agree on that. I think anybody who is a fan of comic book movies can probably agree on that if they've seen, both versions, right?
Yeah. If they did.
If they did.
Unless you're a casual person, which a lot of people are, that are like, I saw it in theater. I'm not going to put any more effort into seeing any more of that. So
that's fair. If that's the way you are, then, whatever, that's fine. So this movie very much is a reflection of his style, I think.
Yeah.
It's an original story that he conceived. And obviously there was backstory that says that this was written as a Star Wars movie, right? Like that he was originally hired to do his own version of Star Wars, and then Lucasfilm basically decided to not go that route, so he decided to shop his story and change it so that it didn't fit into the Star Wars universe, right? That's the story that we've heard, and I don't know if that's ever been confirmed or denied or whatnot, but that's always the story that's kind of made the rounds. But it feels very much like that.
He said that, like Snyder himself has confirmed that a lot. So like, sorry, continue.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I don't think Lucasfilm has ever said that was the case.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they ever said like, oh, we never, I don't think they've ever come out and said, yeah, we hired Zack Snyder, and then said, never mind.
I thought it was one that he wrote it and was pitching like that he wanted this to be a Star Wars movie, and then they didn't pick it up. So he was like, all right, well, fine. I'm going to do it on my own.
Right.
Honestly, I think that is probably like the biggest, like, because of that backstory, I truly think was at least for me, the biggest driving force behind my excitement for the movie. Honestly, of like, I'm not like, this is going to be another Star Wars movie, or like what's the word I'm looking for? Like I can't even think of the word I'm saying. Like, it's a Star Wars movie, but it's not in that world. But it wasn't that. It was its own thing. And you're right. It very much was like, had that Snyder lens on the entire film. So,
lots of slow-mo.
Lots of slow-mo. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, because it happens within the first 5 seconds of the movie, and it happens every 5 seconds of the movie. Like
every scene.
We turn to each other pretty early. And then throughout, we're like, another slow-mo.
Another slow-mo. You'd be watching, and be somebody like,
yes, which
it'd be the most funny, mundane thing, and it's like, okay, slow-mo.
Yeah. Oh, and it's not like a short slow-mo. It's a lingering slow-mo. So like we get some extra time where we're like, all right, are we really doing another slow-mo here? It's funny, when I was a kid,
slow-mo, it's okay.
I was just gonna say, when I was a kid and I would play with toys, I would do that movie slow-mo thing before an epic moment all the time, and then full speed when it hits. It's a thing, but like, it feels like that's a technique you probably learn or go over in a film class. And then it felt like he was like, I'm going to make a whole movie with this.
Yes.
Like, I'm just going to use this to make this whole movie.
It's like Abrams and lens flare, right? Like,
yes. You can count on second, there's a lens flare.
You can count on it. It's going to happen.
But when you first saw it in the first Star Trek, it was cool. It was like, oh, this movie feels gritty. There's lens flares. Like, that's really cool. And then it was like, all right, every movie you do, you have 100 lens flares.
Constant with the lens flare. Here's what I'll say about Rebel Moon before we get to the spoilery parts. Like, it very much does feel Star Wars-esque in scope, right?
Yeah.
And then the basic storyline is, I mean, the movie's called Rebel Moon. right? You feel very much like small little rebel uprising taking on the big bad mother world, and it's
Yeah.
empire, whatever you want to call it. That's very much what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
It has that vibe. You've got this ragtag cast of characters. You've got the soldiers, and you've got the scoundrels, and you've got it's all over the place. It's in I will say this, like, this movie's on Netflix, right? It had a very limited theatrical run. It
Yeah.
looks great. It looks
Yep.
amazing, especially like the first half of the movie. It looks,
Dude, opening shots were like, wow,
yes,
that is galactic badassness in the
yeah.
background.
It looks
Yep.
it looks amazing. I enjoyed it enough where I would say, like, listen, yeah, I would recommend it. You watch it on Netflix, 100%. If you've got Netflix, you probably need to watch it. If you like sci-fi, you need to watch it. Like, if you
Yes.
like
Yep.
just a fun, action movie that's got sci-fi elements in it, 100%. I think you should check it out.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I think the same thing. I actually had a ton of fun with it.
Yep.
It's weird because it's like there's really high expectations. I mean, we've been talking about it for most of the year of like that this new movie's coming out. But when
We
you
had it
say
on
it like
our
that,
most hyped second half movies. I think we had on our list.
you
Yeah.
know, when you say it like that, it's like, yeah, it's on Netflix. It was accessible essentially the day it released,
Right.
with the exception of the few theaters that it came out in, which I think was the same time that it came out on Netflix, right? Like, I don't think they did a
I think
pre-release
maybe
in theaters.
I think that's why they had early reviews, is because I think it did come out
Oh,
theatrically
because they did
like a week earlier
okay.
or so. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I was excited when this dropped to be like, oh fuck yeah, like new movie to watch. It's made by a big time director.
Mm-hmm.
Visually, it looks really, really great.
It
Stunning.
does.
There's a lot of cool places that they go in the movie.
Good
So I would
actors in
say
it.
like there are great actors in it
Mm-hmm.
that you're gonna like. There's one actor that like was in it early, and then I very much realized that it's going to be a part 2 actor. But I'll talk about that when we get into spoilers.
Yep.
But yeah, I actually liked it. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was fun and it was interesting, and it's new. It's a new property.
Yeah.
So I think once you get out of your head of like, this is not a Star Wars movie, this is
Mm-hmm.
a whole separate thing. Like, once you get past that,
Yeah.
I thought it was enjoyable. So
Yeah, I agree. So we both recommend it. So let's get to the spoilery parts. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning.
Get
out.
Get
I felt like very much so it was a movie of two halves. Like,
Oh, yes.
I was sucked in from the moment that movie started. On the moon with the like farming community, and like there's this tiny little family, and then all of a sudden here comes the big bad mother world or whatever coming to basically lay the hammer down and say, we're going to take all your crops, right? Like, that's kind of how the movie starts.
It looks stunning. You're like,
It's
oh
amazing.
fuck, like this
Looks
looks
amazing.
epic. Like, fuck yeah, this is great. And then I agree. It felt, the second half of the movie, or even like the part 3 of a 3-part film, it felt very out of place compared to how it started and where we were at. Like, I don't want to say that they, not to jump like directly to the end of the movie, but like, I don't think that they rushed it, but it's hard whenever when you drop a part 1 with the thought of like, this is a 2-part movie, or supposed to be a 2-part story.
Yep.
And so like, you've got to leave enough to be able to have that second part for that movie to be interesting. But like, there's a way to go about wrapping up the movie and it just, it felt like they rushed it and randomly just it like sped, all of a sudden it sped up to a different planet. That guy turns on guy.
Yep.
Everyone's having this epic battle, and then it was like, oh, I guess we're at the end of the movie. Like,
That's the thing with two-part
oh,
movies. Yeah, with two-part movies, right? Like you have to have a clear-cut ending to your first movie. But at the same time, you have to have a good jump off point for your second one.
yeah,
I think they had the second part of that. I think they have a good jump off point for the second movie. But I'm with you. I feel like the ending was like we just rushed into it at the end, because the first part of the movie is very much like, here's this farming community. This is the Rebel Moon. There's this person that has been there. Sophia Botella is the main character. She's very much been there a short amount of time, but she's part of the community now. And then all of a sudden, here comes the bad guys, and they're like gonna do bad things on the planet. And so she's like, I'm leaving. Goodbye. I'm running, because
yeah,
she already ran there. We come to find out she's this former like soldier badass called the Scar Giver, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so basically the soldiers that are staying there are ruthless and evil, and they're going to harm some people. And she's like, well, nope, can't let that happen. So she gets involved, right? And starts killing them. And
yeah,
then now it's like, all right, she's going to have to build a ragtag group of soldiers to help defend the Rebel Moon, right? So
yeah,
you basically, like, it almost feels like, I know you're talking about 3 parts, but the first part is like half the length of the movie, it feels like,
yeah,
where
yeah,
it's like they're basically, it introduces what's going on, introduces who she is, introduces what the plot of the movie is, right? It feels
yeah.
like that part was done very well. And
Mhm.
then, yes, it flies through the second half of that movie, because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we got to go find all these people. And I'm like
Yeah,
looking at my
there's
watch,
a
like,
second part where they're
are they going to
party
find
building.
everybody?
Yeah, but it was like all of a sudden it turned into a BioWare game. Like it felt like Baldur's Gate 3
You
that
are
I've been
right.
playing, and that it's like, all right, now we have our main character, and now we're gonna have a ragtag party, and we need to go recruit our party members one by one.
Yeah, it's
And
like an
they,
old school JRPG, right? Like,
yeah, literally they go to each person and recruit them. They do a little side mission for
yep,
them to help
that's
them
exactly what
before, and
happens.
because they help them, they then join. They then decide, like, all right, I have no idea who you are. You just showed up and got me out of a random little pickle, and because of that, I am now indebted to you, and I will follow you to the myths of Avalon. That's kind of how it felt.
Right.
and
Oh, you
and
want me to
that
go fight
was,
in your war to defend people I don't know?
yes,
Okay, let's go.
yes. So like that was that. So like you are so right. Like the first half of the movie is part one, and then there's the second half is cut into two, where it's find party. They go and they get every single character, and then part three is like, all right, now we're gonna fucking like end everything, and we're gonna wrap this up. It's like, oh, okay. They
It, yeah,
like
and
if
I got to go back and look at the time on it, because it's like it's over a 2-hour movie, but they needed like another 30 minutes at
yeah,
least, like, because it felt
yeah,
like it's like a 2-hour and 15-minute movie, and I feel like an hour and a half of it was the setup, and then it
dude.
feels like,
Well, and I don't, because I did. So there's the two parts,
Mhm.
but have they said that they're doing a trilogy, or that this is going to
No,
be a multi movie, or are
he
they like,
he
we're just doing the
wants
two
to.
parts? And
He wants to, but it's
yeah,
only 2 parts right now. I think they're I I feel like everybody I know that has Netflix has watched this,
yeah, yeah,
so I feel like there's a good chance it's going to get a third part, because I feel like it's
yeah.
getting a lot of views.
Kind of like his how he did so well with the Justice League Snyder cut, that
Right.
they're like, that now Netflix is like, we want the rights to the Snyderverse. We want to
Mhm.
keep making those movies, which honestly, like, yeah, let them do it. Um, but that is a great point. So I very much felt like he wants to make this a new franchise, like a new Star Wars type franchise. But because that's not set in stone, he almost feels like he has to rush doing things with these main characters to make sure we get to see it happen in a movie instead of the movie's ending and we never get to see what happens to him. Because all of the characters I think are really interesting. They're super different and weird, and like this like samurai like witch lady and this fucking like Tarzan guy who can ride a like eagle dragon,
wild animals,
like Charlie Hunnam I think he gets a bad rap in movies, obviously as Jax Teller in Sons of Anarchy. He was like fucking amazing. But like in movies, nothing has really stuck other than The Gentleman, which is a great movie.
He needs to quit trying to play an American accent. That's his biggest issue.
Yes. Which in this movie he was full Scottish, Irish.
Yeah, he's Irish.
He was full as accent.
Always my biggest, and I love Pacific Rim. I think it's a fantastic movie, and I like him in it. But that's always the like biggest part for me is like when he's like doing that serious dialogue, and you can tell he's just struggling.
Yeah, well, because he was so good as Jax Teller, I don't think a lot of people knew for like 5 years that he was like Irish.
They just thought he talked weird.
Yes, so, but his character, by the time we get, now we're in spoilers, so by the time we get to the end of the movie, where he then is the double crosser, like I had just got to the point that I was like, okay, I fucking like his character. He had just won over the girl, like, and he's a big time actor, so it almost felt like if you're going to build a franchise like this is the Harrison Ford Han Solo character that you need. Right. And what they did at the end, like how he flipped on all of them, and it actually was his plan all along to get all of these major wanted,
it's like a bounty hunter,
criminals as a bounty hunter to turn them in, was actually a great turn. But I felt like this was one movie early for it. Like, if this would have been, if we would have got more time, dude, yes. Like if we got more, like it would have had way more weight, because at the point that it happened, like it was like the party had just been put together, and it felt like, okay, now we are about to, like, we've got our party, we are about to start our journey to Mordor. And it wasn't even like we're going to go on a journey together, and then once we've all like really like each other and feel like we can trust each other, then someone turns on us. They just did it too early.
This would be like if Boromir turns before they ever get to the Mines of Moria.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's exactly like it was like, oh, I actually think the turn was great, but the timing of it was too early. You didn't give us enough time to like them all, like, and feel like they all were working to the same thing, because they literally fucking like just picked up like the fucking big giant black dude, the general, the gladiator guy, like he got
Djimon Hounsou plays, like, and they talk about him through the whole first half of that movie. Like, we got to go get the Titus. He's this general, and he's the one that knows how to fight him, and like we got to get him. And then they talk about Ray Fisher, he was the one that was Cyborg in the Justice League movie, but they talk about Ray Fisher as the one of the Blood Axe, the brother and sister of the Blood Axe. They talk about them at the very beginning of the movie, and so when they finally get to them, you're like, oh hell yeah, let's go. Dead.
Yeah, like finally when they get him in the party, they then immediately end game battle where he sacrifices himself and dies, and it feels there's no weight to it other than feeling like, oh, they just
Mhm.
They just killed him off. Like,
Yeah,
we've been
that.
waiting to see him in the movie, and now they're okay.
Oh, cool.
Like,
Thanks for coming.
he was a yeah. And I also, it was like Zack Snyder was talking, and even Ray Fisher was talking. Like, finally, I'm getting to do the movie that I'm getting my due, like my screen time that
Yeah.
Zack Snyder had, like, wanted to do with me with the Justice League. And it was like, nope, actually, no, you're not going to be in the
Dead.
movie until the last like 10 minutes, and then dead. Like, you're going to heroically die 5 minutes after you enter the movie. It's like, what?
There were points, because we watched this together, which I don't think we said yet, but there were points where we're watching this movie in the first hour and a half, and I think we kept like looking at each other like, well, I really like this. Like, this is really
Yes,
good.
literally.
Like,
This is fucking.
well,
I'm all in on
this
this.
is right up my alley. Like, I'm like the characters. It's really good. And then we got to the end, like kind of battle scene, and we were like looking at each other, and we're like, what's going on now?
How, like, are they already disbanding this whole merry little group? The other thing that really irked me was, so like they had to go find, so like they were building this party so that they could then go seek out the Blood Axe twins and their rebel group, because that rebel group is like the only like
Because they like
entity of
have an army.
people.
Yeah.
Yes, they have a small army that has defeated some of the Mother World's like forces in small battles or a battle. So like they're the only like entity that's actually like actively trying to take out the Mother World people. But they're a small group, and from how they talk about it, are very like hidden and hard to get to, hard to find.
Yeah.
And so they finally get their party together and then immediately go exactly where this group is, on this like super cool designed planet, comet, asteroid, where like it's like there's like these floating like pillar rock mountains and this like Admiral Akbar type king of this whole planet of, and they talk about it of like that it's this massive planet, it's this massive like kingdom of a people, and you literally meet this king to where he is like, I'm putting, I'm the only way for you to meet the Blood Axe twins is because I am letting them hide here on my planet.
Yep.
I'm going to connect you with them. By doing this, it's putting like, it's putting my people at risk. Like, they meet him, he introduces them to the Blood Axe twins like 10 seconds later, and then immediately after they meet and they decide, immediately after they meet and it is decided that half of the Blood Axe twins and the brother are going to go with our main character and their party to battle against there was a mother ship that had been sent from Mother Planet or whatever, that it was
Mother
like
World. Send a mothership.
Mother World. Yeah. So like there's a single warship that had been sent. And so that's really where the focus of the movie is to take out this one ship and the people there, not necessarily like we're going to the home world. Anyways, so they meet Blood Axe twins at from this king who we just met, of a kingdom of a massive planet, of a massive thing of people. They decide half the group's going to go with the main characters, and that the sister and the other rest of them are going to go, like, they don't really say much of where they're going to go. They're just like, all right, we're not going to help and be a part of that, but we support you for doing it. And so they go their own way. And then immediately after that, 5 seconds after that scene, it's like we clip back to that planet, even though we were just there, and it is already conquered. The entire planet is already conquered, and the king is like being like tortured, murdered to find out where they went. And it was like, they didn't show any of the invasion of the planet. They didn't show any of the like, holy shit, like we've been talking about this mothership, we've been hiding this rebel force, and then, oh my God, the Reapers are showing up. Like, they just like, it literally, we just met you, we're going to go this way, and then click. Now the fucking bad guy is like holding like his boot to the king's head, and the whole planet is conquered. He fucking
And you're
kills him,
like,
and they move on.
I have more questions now.
Yes, I'm like, wait, we just met him, and like, wait, did you just invade and conquer this whole planet? And wait, now it's just like a very small side piece of information of like, what? So that was like the biggest part of the movie that I was like, what the fuck? Like, we didn't even see any of the invasion, or they didn't even make it seem like it took effort to fucking to find them and to, you know, take out. I'd have to rewatch it to be like, maybe I'm crazy, but it felt very
you're
much
not
like
crazy.
they skipped a whole fucking part of this fucking movie.
Yeah, it ended up feeling rushed at the end. I mean, listen, like we've gone over kind of the whole plot. It leaves you like, well, what's gonna happen next? Because we've just lost like 3 or 4 key members to what we thought our party was gonna be, and like you know, there's a big showdown at the end with Sofia Boutella's character and the evil admiral Ed Screen's character, and they have this big battle. She whoops his ass, right? But then you kind of see him like
beats his ass.
He's kind of gets put back together like he's some kind of cyborg or something. You see that, and obviously he's going to be in the second one, you know, probably enhanced or whatever. But you know, overall, like I liked that first half so much that I will say I'm going to watch this again at some point, you know, probably soon, because there's not a lot in January and February. So I'll probably watch it again soon. And, you know, I'd recommend it. Like, again, we said we recommended it. I think people should watch it. I think it's a good movie. If the second part is better, or it's more in line with the way the first half of part 1 was, then yeah, let's go. I'm pretty excited for that. Overall, I'm going to say I give it a 7. Like, I was happy with it. You know, it not great by any means, but it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it.
I think a 7 is exactly where I'm at with it too. Of like, I did not end the movie and feel like that was a shitty movie. It was like, oh, that was like a cool movie, and like,
yes,
I feel like they just didn't stick the landing.
No,
but it is like they it's a part 1 of 2 movies, so
right.
It could be great.
If I rated this just part 1 as 2 halves, it's an 8 and a 6. Like, legit. That first half is at least an 8 something. It's good.
And
then
the most interesting character in the movie was the Anthony Hopkins like droid. Like,
right. Yeah.
He's like it's like a super famous like model of droid that like, they were like the protectors of like the king's royal family, and like all they know is battle, and like but when you talk to him, you feel like there's emotion in there, and like he like truly believes in like the royal family, and that, you know, them being from like 200 years prior. It's like that long of generations since he had been like with the group. But anyways, the way they talked to him at the beginning, I thought he was going to be like a crucial character in the movie, and like they show him a lot in the trailers. So I thought like, oh, this dude Anthony Hopkins is making me very interested in this fucking droid, and I want to see where this goes. He feels like he's going to be like the partner in crime to the main character girl, but then like they never talk. They are never, other than like there's a tiny little scuffle in the farm, and then he runs out into the fucking wilderness in the first 20 minutes, and we don't see him until the very end of the movie. So I think I'm excited to see where they go with him in the next part of the movie. As we're talking about it, I wish they would have they could have totally made the invasion of that planet and that killing of the king the end of the movie, where our party meets the Blood Axes. There's a battle. The king dies. they build some rapport, and then they decide, okay, we're going to run as this half a group, and then we're going to stay and go with you new rebels. And then that could have been the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's where we get excited for the second one. And then boom, right when it starts off, Charlie Hunnam fucking
does his heel turn.
Gives him that what's the No Country for Old Men death, where he fucking like blasts him with the air gun or
paralyzes
something.
him. Yeah.
So yeah.
I will. He, obviously Zack Snyder likes doing this, but he says he's got a director's cut that's going to come out on Netflix before.
Oh yeah.
Part 2 comes out.
And I'll probably like it. I'll probably say this. I'll probably say this movie was so much better with all of the stuff that should have been in it.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Justice League all over again. Like, that's a piece of shit, and this is great. Or Batman versus Superman, piece of shit, great. And this isn't a piece of shit. So funny. But if it's that much better, wonderful. I can't wait to see it. Anyway, that's our thoughts and our review for Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire, now available on Netflix.
Yeah,
Kyle,
go watch it.
Go watch it for sure. And that takes us into my favorite segment. There can be only 5.
Only 5.
So we're doing our end of the year wrap up. So you're going to get some of our end of the year, because we're in January now, our end of 2023 thoughts, what we liked, what we didn't like. We're going to do that for the next couple of weeks, but we thought we would start out this week with our top 5 favorite movies of 2023. This was my list, so I'll go first. Top 5 favorite movies of 2023. I had one honorable mention.
Ooh.
I actually had 2.
Ooh, just say them.
So my 2 honorable mentions for 2023 favorite movies, I did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Which I thought was really well done. It was great animation. I enjoyed the voices. It was a very well done animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Sisu, I had also as an honorable mention, which was, did you ever see that? Did you ever end up seeing Sisu?
Yeah, I did.
It's I talked a little bit about it on a past episode. It was a Finnish movie, and it's a kind of John Wick style, like World War II guy just gets wronged by a group of Nazis, and he just decides to go fucking nuts and kill them all. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check that one out. It's a great movie. So, all right, that takes me to my top 5 favorite movies of 2023. Number 5, John Wick Chapter 4. Which I thought, I'm a big fan of the John Wick franchise. We've talked about it a couple times on the podcast. I thought Chapter 4 did a great job of tying everything up with a neat little bow. And it held the quality of the previous 3 entries, which is something that's pretty damn hard to do.
Especially the 4th volume.
Yeah, it's hard to keep a trilogy in good shape, right? But to actually make a 4th movie and it not just go completely off the freaking rails, hats off. It could be the best one of the franchise. Quality-wise, it might be. Action-wise, it might be. I think the first one still holds a place in my heart as the favorite, but John Wick Chapter 4, great movie.
Nice.
At number 4, I had Godzilla -1 at number 4.
Let's go.
Really, really... you got to see it before I did. I didn't even get a chance to review it, but man, if you are a Godzilla or just a kaiju or monster movie fan, like, it's fucking awesome. It's the story's great. This kamikaze pilot that's kind of like dishonorable, and man, he loses everything.
Redemption movie.
Yeah, it's a redemption movie, and it also just happens to have like maybe the scariest freaking version of Godzilla ever on film.
Yeah.
Which it's pretty wild. So Godzilla -1. At number 3, I had Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which was very much a movie. The first half of the year I really enjoyed. Way better than I thought it should have been. Way better than I think anybody thought it was gonna be. Obviously didn't do a ton of movie at the box office, but it's has the chance to make a sequel because I think it like made its money back. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons I had at number 3.
When I saw that movie, I didn't really know much about the Dungeons and Dragons world, like specifically, other than like what my friends have talked about and like what Stranger Things has taught me about like the Demogorgon and things like that. But I have been playing the shit out of Baldur's Gate 3, which I don't know if I mentioned that. That should have probably been my 6 to midnight. Like I am fucking loving Baldur's Gate 3. And it is set in the Dungeons and Dragons world. Right. And it does a very good job of like giving you like the codex and like learning the ins and outs of peoples and places. And so I haven't rewatched Dungeons and Dragons, but that's been my plan all week is like, I bet if I watch that, I'm going to like it 100 times more now that I know way more about the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
So, what a big year for D&D. And then number 2, I had Oppenheimer as my number 2 favorite movie of the year.
Oh, nice. We're interesting.
Yeah.
Where we're going to both be at.
Yeah. So that I had at number 2. Boy, it fell in line with where I thought it was going to be. Like when we knew it was coming out and all the previews, and Christopher Nolan made this epic biopic, and it was everything I'd hoped it would be. And, it lived up to the hype, and it was one of my favorite movies of the year. So I had that at number 2. And then, number 1, I had Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Nice.
Number 1,
nice.
Still after
Remember
seeing
when you said that it wasn't a 10?
Yeah.
The first time you saw it?
It's a 10.
It's a golden 11.
Well, I haven't given any of those out yet, so. I
don't think you ever will.
It's a 10.
It's a 9.9. It's a 10. It's a 10, Billy Bob. Classic. Love that. That's I'm here for that. I love your list. We have some similarities. We have some differences. And I'm surprised that they fell the way that they did. I did not put any honorable mentions. There probably could have been some movies on here, but I kept it at 5. And I'm going to start with my number 5. This was what I had mentioned at the very beginning or before we started the pod. I saw a posting on like one of the geek news websites I follow that it was like Christian Bale's super underrated movie that no one is talking about has like one of the most played total hours of movie on Netflix this year. Like people have watched it more than like any other movie on Netflix. The Pale Blue Eye, which I don't think you have seen yet, but I'm telling you, you have to watch this movie. It is so good. It's right up there with freaking why am I blanking on Christopher Nolan's, Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman?
Oh, Prestige.
The Prestige. Oh, it's got the Prestige vibes. It's right. And when I talked about this movie probably earlier in the year, it checks my boxes of movies. Me and my wife, we like the period piece mystery thriller, murder mystery. It's dark and it's fucking Christian Bale, and he crushes it. And there's a twist on it, so kind of felt like The Last Samurai kind of like quality and level of movie. So like Last Samurai meets like what we just talked about with the Hugh Jackman movie, which again I am. The Prestige. Jesus, Kyle. The Pale Blue Eye. Watch that movie. If you haven't seen it, you're a fool. Number 4, I couldn't not have this in my top 5. Though I wished it was better, I still really liked it. Ninja Turtles. I thought the new Ninja Turtle movie was great. Seth Rogen did a great job of getting us back to some of like the classic vibe of the Turtles. There were some things that were a bit of a like, I don't like that.
But I was going to say, I forgot to mention that when I talked about it, because it was an honorable mention. I didn't go into it, but It's a very well done movie. The animation's great. The voice acting's great. Like, I like the story. Yes, there were things I didn't like that they changed. My biggest beef was like Splinter's background. I did not care for that at all. Like, you're watching fucking 1980s workout videos to learn, to be I didn't care. I didn't like that.
Yeah. There was some of the stuff that I was like, oh, like, still better than what Michael Bay did, so I'll take it.
100%.
And the teenage, like, they went fully into like the teenager route was cool, but like they want to go to high school and wear clothes part was like, come on, I don't need that. But I still like the movie. We watched it a bunch in my house because it's fucking awesome. Actually, just watched it today for the first time in like a couple of months. So, my number 3 favorite movie of the year, Godzilla -1. This movie, I almost had this at number 1, but then I tried to fight a recency bias because I thought maybe that was playing a role in it. But it was such a great movie, and not just because it's a big giant dinosaur terrorizing a town, but it's like a freaking great story and very well acted movie that invoked a lot of emotion, like funny parts, happy parts, super sad parts, like maybe a little teary moments, and like just the redemption of it, like I mean, it's really built around like grief and regret is a big part of that movie too. Of like the pilot, he basically regrets that he didn't, kamikaze, and like and then because he couldn't pull the trigger, a lot of people died because of him. So like the whole movie feels like he's trying to live a life with that in his past, but also feels like he owes them something. And it was fuck. And Godzilla was fucking terrifying. I cannot wait to see that again. I am like pumped. I like almost daily check to see when it's going to like release.
Did you see
digitally.
In Japan they released a black and white version?
Yeah, they did a black and white. Cool. They've like spread out the amount of theaters it's playing at. Which there's the one part of me I'm like, that's super cool that this movie that no one was expecting or knew about really until it came out is now like getting more theater time because it's doing so well and people are so interested.
Right.
But I'm like, boo! Just release it digitally. Stop trying to put it in theaters longer. I want to watch it at home.
Exactly.
And then number 2 and my number 1 are flip-flopped from you, which I originally had them where you had them lying. But then I just like in terms of like, I've got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as my number 2, and I've got Oppenheimer as my number 1. Traditionally, I would do my list based on like, what am I going to watch more? I absolutely am going to watch Spider-Man 400 times more than I would and have already than Oppenheimer. But Oppenheimer, like, there is just something about an epic Christopher Nolan movie in the theater with just incredible score that leaves a like lasting effect that I'm listening to the score at home. Like the score of Oppenheimer, I listen to all the time. It's like, it was so epic and so good that I had to put it at number 1 because I fucking loved it. It was great. I did think Spider-Man
I agree.
Spider-Man was equally good, and a million moments that I'm like, fuck, like I love what they're doing here. The animation is amazing. It was a golden 11, which I didn't have Oppenheimer. Did I have Oppenheimer? I think those 2 I had them both as golden 11s.
You didn't give anything a golden 11 until you got to Ninja Turtles. You gave them 10s. You gave them 10s.
No, I gave Spider-Man was my first golden 11.
Ninja Turtles was.
Oh, no. Ninja Turtles 1990. I was like, there's no way I gave fucking.
No, you gave Ninja Turtles 1990 a golden 11.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that.
They gave him 10s. I'm good with that.
Whatever. That makes sense. That's fine. I love it. But yeah, great movies. I'm a little upset I haven't seen Iron Claw yet. I love wrestling, like old wrestling, like wrestling history, the family of the Von Erichs. Like I nerd out about that shit. in like the 90s and 2000s. I was a wrestling nerd.
Right. So we did this list.
I think that movie's going to be good.
I do too. We did this list. This is our favorite movies of 2023, right? As we get into award season, we're going to make a point to see like heavily Oscar nominated movies. Like they're going to do the Oscar nominations here in like 2 weeks. And then we're going to have like two full months to make sure that we watch, these movies. Now, will we do podcast episodes for these movies? Not all of them. But like when we do our lists for like right before the Oscars and stuff, best movies of 2023, because I think that's a totally different category. Best movies of 2023 isn't going to have.
Oh, that's a good point.
My best movies of 2023 isn't probably going to have Dungeons and Dragons on it, right? It's not going to have Ninja Turtles as an honorable mention, but
did not even think about that.
But we're going to see more of those like artsy movies, and we're going to see the other movies that we haven't gotten a chance yet to see, and we'll do those when we get into award season, so we can talk more about the best of the year,
like the Shape of Waters and the Peanut Butter Falcons and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever see Peanut Butter Falcon?
Never saw it.
With Shia LaBeouf?
Oh, nope.
It is a powerful movie. You should. Have you ever heard of it? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what it is. I know. I've heard of everything. Movie. All of them.
True. Okay, let's jump into my There Can Only Be 5, which was the top 5 surprises of 2023. We did not give any other info other than just surprises of 2023. I went my route with this. I didn't want this to turn into a bitch fest or just to only trash on movies. So I had some positives. I had some that was surprising and bummer.
I did the same thing.
I did not put any honorable mentions. Oh, actually, no, I did. I had Sisu as my honorable mention because that was a surprising movie. It reminded me of the movie Nobody. That I had no expectations for this movie.
Oh, sure.
Put it on, was like, oh fuck, this is cool. This was a great concept. I'm enjoying this. So Sisu was in my honorable mentions for surprises because I had fucking no expectations and it came out of nowhere and I thought it was cool. My number 5, which did we do our first episode on this? I had Super Mario as my number 5.
It was our first episode.
So Super Mario, sometimes I forget that came out this year, or last year, technically March, 2023. Yeah. It was surprising in that I wasn't oh my God, they're coming out with a Super Mario movie. I'm so excited. I didn't even realize Chris Pratt was doing the voice of Mario until literally the day I was going to see the movie or the week of. So I hadn't done any research on it. I think I knew Jack Black was going to be Bowser, but I was blown away with how much how good it was. It was just a good Super Mario movie.
Yep.
But how much Jack Black fucking blew up from this. There's a whole new generation of kids now who know Jack Black, just like you mentioned earlier, that they strictly know him as the Peaches guy, as Bowser. Which I think is great because Jack Black is just amazing. Yes, and he is so great at just being this is cool, and I'm going to dive in with it.
Yep.
So that movie was really surprising to me because I had no expectations, and I really liked it. The boys liked it. It was fun. It was really well done, and I now am excited for when they come out with another one, which I have no doubt they will. My number 4 surprise of the year was Blue Beetle. I thought there wasn't a atom in my body that cared to go see Blue Beetle. There was nothing about that movie or that franchise or that character that we talk about me being a DC loyalist. I'm a superhero loyalist. I'm interested in specific characters. And Blue Beetle is not one of them. I love the Batman, the Brave and the Bold cartoon show. It's great. But the one thing I hate about it is they try to make Blue Beetle like Robin, and he's in half of the episodes. And so I already have a little bit of an annoyance hate for the character. So I wasn't really excited about the movie. We were going to do an episode on the pod. You twisted my arm enough that I'm like, all right, I'll go see it. And it was refreshingly good. I was surprised at how good or how much I enjoyed it, I would say. Maybe not necessarily good as if it was like Oppenheimer. But I really, are you contemplating
I was going to say, I was thinking, I'm like, didn't DC have 3 movies come out this year, and it was the best of the 3?
Yep. In terms of, is it the one that I'll watch the most out of the 3? No. But was it the best, in terms of quality of movie? Yes. I don't think really anybody went and saw it. I don't think they're probably going to get. There's not going to be probably a sequel it's going to die with that movie.
Well, but I think James Gunn's already come out and said he will remain Blue Beetle in the new DCU.
But isn't talking about it as if that was like the kickoff to the new universe. So more of just we like that character. He's going to be the character in our new franchise, but technically his movie is not the start of our world.
Right.
Anyways, if you haven't seen that movie, it's really great. Really funny. There's a lot of humor in it that I thought was perfect. Kind of Iron Man meets fun, charismatic teenager vibes. It was fun. It was surprising. I was like, oh shit, that was actually, I had fun seeing this movie when we walked out. My number 3 surprise of the year. I had no idea that this movie was going to be so fucking massive and that I would enjoy it as much as I did. I had Barbie at number 3. It had no thoughts of oh, Barbie's going to be a huge movie. It was oh, they're doing a Barbie movie, cool. And then it was such a big movie that it will forever be tied to Oppenheimer. It is Barbenheimer. That is for the rest of time. Those movies, they should be sold together in 2 packs. They should do events together. It's crazy.
Movie for mom and a movie for dad.
Yes, that's a really great point. It was a fun movie. Ryan Gosling is Bay number 1. So how can you not enjoy that movie? He's great. Mr. freaking Blade Runner himself. Barbie is his second best movie. But it was fun. I mean, it made a shit ton of money. It, I think, is the highest grossing movie of the year. It broke a bajillion records. Get Out. It will probably be the in terms of monetarily success, it will be the best movie of 2023 when it comes to that. My number 2 surprise of the year. I was so surprised at how bad The Flash was. I had that as my number 2. It was shockingly bad. And what I was more surprised with was how much they could have easily blindly closed their eyes and hit a home run because they had Michael Keaton back as Batman. And they walked up to the plate without a bat. They just
straight pooped their pants.
I am shocked that the director and writer, that the 9th director and writer that they finally got to take on this movie, that Michael Keaton stayed with wanting to be in it. I get from his standpoint of I want to reprise my role of Batman that I never thought I was going to.
Because he is Batman.
Because he fucking is Batman. And the director and writer, it felt like they had never seen Batman 89 or Batman Returns. Like, it was not that Batman. And Keaton did he said some of the same lines, and like, I hated the suit that they put him in. It didn't look anything like the classic one. They turned him into a CG ninja. Like, they just did stuff with him that was like, he was the main reason why I was interested in that movie and thought I was going to love that movie. I literally said before it came out, they are calling this The Flash, but it should be called Batman 3. And like, it wasn't that. And I have no idea why they did what they did with that. And it was the biggest surprise of the year in terms of disappointment. And like, fuck, I wanted that to be my new favorite movie because Keaton Batman's back and they fucking sucked at it. So not you, Keaton. You are perfect. Keep doing what you're doing. But
never change.
I can't believe they made you go long hair, barefoot, kitchen ninja with a broom. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Look at how they murdered my boy.
Yeah, look at how they massacred my boy. Yes, that is freaking right. And then my number one surprise of the year, this movie, I had fucking no idea it was even coming out, especially because there is an entire American franchise that has been dropping movies and TV shows left and right. This movie dropped out of nowhere, and like right after I saw it, I was like, this might be movie of the year for me. Godzilla Minus One was a massive surprise for everyone. Box office wise, for me, I was like, oh, there's another Godzilla movie that's in theaters right now. Oh, right. That's interesting. Oh, it's actually good and like scary, and it's all in Japanese. What? I'm gonna go see it, and then walked out of it like, holy fuck, that movie was so good. Like, it was by far the best surprise of the year in terms of movies or anything like that. I mean, so surprising that they literally had to add more theaters for the people to see it. So I loved it. From what you have said, you really enjoyed it as well. For me, that was my number one surprise of 2023 so far.
All right.
Well, so far, I guess the year's over now, but you know what I mean?
All right. I loved your list. We had some similarities, especially towards the end. So I had at number 5, not a movie per se, but a news story. At number 5, I had The Strikes.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right. So I had the strikes on there because it was such a big news story. We had all these movie delays. It's going to carry over into next year. There were so many things that we didn't get or got delayed or aren't going to get for a while. So I thought that was a pretty big news story, and it was quite the surprise that it lasted as long as it did. So I had that at number 5 on my list.
I mean, think about like movies like Dune. Like, that was like most anticipated movie of the year. Didn't get that movie.
And it didn't come out.
The strike changed everything for this year. So which Oppenheimer I think is juiced about. So
yes, probably should be, because I think I saw like they do like a awards tracker like so far, and it was like Oppenheimer's won 66 awards so far, and the next closest movie was The Holdovers, has won like 31.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it looks like it's going to run away with it. So that was number 5. At number 4, I had the MCU as my surprise at number 4. And I had that because, boy, did it falter at the box office this year.
Oh my gosh.
Because of the inadequacy of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania at the beginning of the year. Then you had the whole Jonathan Majors kerfuffle, right? And you basically dumped your villain. And then the Marvels came out in November and bombed, like atomic bombed at the box office because nobody wanted to see it. And
was that a really expensive movie? I didn't really look at how much it cost.
I mean, they all are like 200 plus. I mean, it's
fuck.
Oof. It's a noofta.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said it was the first year, and it's been a while since Disney hasn't had the #1 box office for the year. Universal did this year, because
Is
of all
that
of its
Barbie?
releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Or
Barbie
Barbie and
and
Oppenheimer.
Mario, right? Because Mario was
Oh
Illumination,
shit!
which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Universal. So yeah, just the MCU at number 4 with the drop off, right?
It's
At number
freaking crazy.
3, I had a tie between
Oh.
Barbie.
Oh.
The surprise that Barbie was, the phenomenon it became over the summer, right? I
Yep.
didn't put Barbenheimer, but yeah, you could put that as go hand in hand, because they both came out at the same time. One was an R-rated, biopic that made almost $1 billion, and then the other one was a movie
Fucking
based on a
movie
freaking
about
toy
a
line that
toy.
made billions of dollars. So
Yeah, made a
yeah, Barbie
shit ton of
was
money.
quite the surprise for the year. And then tied with it at number 3, I had Godzilla -1 for all the reasons that you
Oh.
said. For all the reasons that you said, at number 3. And so I don't need to go any more into that. At number 2, I had the dog shit that is The Flash at number 2.
Oh. Look at that.
For all
There
the
it is.
reasons you said. I wanted it to be number 1 because I had such high hopes for the movie, and it
Yep.
ended up just, I don't want to talk about it anymore. The Flash, number
Yeah.
2, surprise of the year. And then number 1, I had this on my previous list. Dungeons and Dragons I had at number 1 as my surprise of the year, because I went into that with absolutely zero expectations and was blown. I think it was I don't know if there was any other movie this year I actually went to the theater and saw multiple times other than Dungeons and Dragons.
Really? How many times
Because
did you see it?
I think I saw it 3 times because I enjoyed it that much.
I've only seen it once. I really need to go back. I'm going to do my rewatch this week. Nice. Number 1 surprise of the year.
Yeah, I had it as my surprise of the year. I would say things like Oppenheimer wasn't a surprise, like
yeah, yep.
Spider-Man wasn't really a surprise. I expected it to be good. Was it better than I thought it was going to be? Yes. Like,
yeah,
but it's not where I would say it was a surprise,
Yeah.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, I thought it was going to be crap. It's what I thought The Flash was,
I think your list is exactly like, it was great. Those were all major surprises this year. Like Barbie and Godzilla, who saw that coming? Clearly the people who made that movie saw that coming. And then Flash, like how surprisingly bad that was.
God, so bad.
And then what else did we have that was matched up? Oh, and then Dungeons and Dragons for you. Like, yeah, like you fucking loved that movie when it came out.
I loved that movie.
And I had no idea like what the trailers made it look like it was going to be a very uninteresting movie. And then
exactly. It looked dumb. I was like, why is Chris Pine in this movie? And then I was like, oh,
why are they making action figures of this movie? It's like,
he read the script and he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do this. Okay, yeah, all right. It's not bad.
I hope they make more of that. I really do.
I do. I think it was good enough that they should, So it's like we talked about with the, Godzilla -1. We were talking about budgets and making these movies. Like, you don't have to spend all that money on making a movie. Like, I get, at least with Dungeons and Dragons, you're paying for the actors and stuff. I see what you're doing there, right? Like, I get that because you have somebody like Chris Pine, you have somebody like Hugh Grant. Like, yeah, you paid them for sure.
Yeah,
I get it. Makes sense. But you can't. I don't think you can make a movie. That one probably was budgeted where it needed to be because there's a big following for Dungeons and Dragons. I think if the word of mouth would have spread better and faster on that movie, it would have done better with the D&D community if they'd have seen
for sure,
the stuff they added in. And then obviously after Baldur's Gate came out and won Game of the Year and things like that, that's based on D&D properties. Yeah, Sure, I think it probably would have done better. I think a sequel
Yeah,
will do
timing
better
was
if
just
they
right.
do it. Yeah, I agree. So I liked your list. We very similar on both categories. We liked what we liked this year. Wasn't a lot of things that we like. There really wasn't things this year that we really disagreed on. Like we knew what was bad, we knew what was good. It was pretty evident. There were things that you liked better than I did. There were things I liked better than you did. But
Yeah.
overall, we were in like the same ballpark on
Yeah.
everything.
I really thought the creator would be the one that you were like surprised about, because like I know that was one that was like, meh,
It
this wasn't
wasn't
what I thought it was going to be.
wasn't as big of a surprise as I think is like if we did a top 5 disappointments of the year, it'd probably be somewhere on there, just because I expected more from it and didn't get it than I thought. It's again, it wasn't a bad movie, and I think I went in with too high expectations, but like it's on Hulu now. Like, what movies go to Hulu? Oof.
Yeah.
I feel
That
bad
is
for
true.
it.
Well,
I feel
hey,
bad for
Predator.
it. But that was like a made for Hulu movie, right? Like
Good point.
That was a Disney property, and they're like, well, we got to put it on our streaming service, and we can't put it on Disney Plus. So
yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Anyway, that's sort of anyway, good list. Yeah, that was a good top 5 to end the year on. And that brings us to the end of episode 32, Rebel Moon Part 1. If you're watching us on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe, hit that bell, leave us comments, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. If you're not watching us on YouTube, hopefully you're listening to us on one of the podcast services you can find us on, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Podcast Index. You can also find some of our short clips and videos on social media at Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Damn it. God, I was all off today. Damn it.
Oh, no. I'm trying to trick you
Happy
every
New
time.
Year. Welcome to 2024.
2024.
We're almost at a year of being at the pod. I mean, I don't remember.
It was the first week of March. It was in March.
So
I'll have to look it up.
We're getting
around
close.
the horn.
So, fun year 2023. Screw you, strikes. Thanks for ruining it. 2024 is going to be even better.
Even better.
Thanks all. Appreciate
yeah, we'll be
listening.
back next week with episode 33. We're going to do Aquaman Part 2, The Lost Kingdom, which has already come out, but we will have that for you next week, and then we'll start getting our awards movies lined up along with some older movies that we've talked about over and over again. We're finally going to get to, but yeah, we'll get to those. That's it. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We appreciate everybody, and we will see you next week.
Bye.